code walkthrough type stuff is a little bit more longer than I want to do in this quick saying we're running, but just for the quick piece of it, some of the um, where is it in here? Right. So there's a shard uh, validation, which is actually shard proposal RX. Um, the way it's the way I view it is that the you create a shard proposal block, it gets validated, and then it turns into a consensus block. So to validate it, you'd receive the proposal block. So my name shard proposal RX, and here it is receiving the shard proposal. And in this code is it's doing the actual validation. And so it's all sitting here. Um, there's the shard consensus where it actually would write this then to the database. There's a lot of code here if anybody wants to walk through some of that. And then there's one that actually creates the block as well. The rest of it is just saying the main entry point really for most of the architecture of the node process is under the node directory, and the main data types start with node types. So it's a global node structure, and that's sitting here. And then the rest of it is Go code here and Python code for Saga Python. That's as much as is really useful. You've got a running system, shard consensus is running, blocks are being created. The transactions are well, right now I didn't actually send any transactions here. They're pseudo transactions. I'm just generating locally, but there is in the actually where is it in the uh, Python section? There's a client that will send transactions. I'm not going to go through that um, tonight, but I will shortly. And then it's fairly straight simple. It's fairly straightforward, fairly straight simple. Actually, one useful thing is actually to just for anybody who hasn't seen before, a transaction essentially looks something like this. As a header, if there's any classes being defined in the transaction they're here, otherwise it would just be a body, which um, does sends messages to various objects and can create new objects as needed to various accounts. And then it gets signed with a tool at the bottom using and to match up the signatures that are in the account names that are in the header list here. That's a transaction. You then send the transaction in. To be clear, it's actually sent as source code and is stored in the blocks as source code, and then it gets dynamically compiled when it gets executed. I think I think we'll stop there for now, and I'll do another update as I am able as we get a little farther in and maybe dig into some of the pieces a little bit more. Um, Probably the most interesting one right now will be to do a bit of a walk through the account negotiation, which is the core of our um, scaling concept, which is why we're account oriented rather than smart contract oriented or UTXO oriented. So we're essentially the third data model. The UTXO was great for single, handling coins. Smart contracts were good for essentially making smart coins. And the our model for scaling uh, turns them both on their head and said, we're going to use accounts that contain objects and define that account state is what's moved around instead of full smart contract state. That allows us to do a scalable sharded environment. But we'll get into that later. Thank you for your time.